Welcome to another episode of the Cannabis Coffee Crew, where the coffee is strong, the cannabis is smooth, and the conversations are out of this world.
Boom squad in the house. I lower the boom when I do the cipher dance. When it's just Aggie Pants as I romance the blast. I take puffs on stuff, rough enough to give a buzz to my guns, even though we don't touch the stuff. See this blood in my foot, some say my stink. But yo, the skunk helps me think.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. I'm your host, Sincere, and today I have with me Pandar, Nuke, and Folt. We're going to switch things up a bit and jump straight into our wake and bake. Nuke, what are you smoking on this morning?
Today I'm smoking on some dabs. Don't ask me what strain they are because I have no idea. But they're a lot of reclaim, so I'm just smoking dabs that I've already smoked before. And I'm drinking some sweet tea today. Getting caffeinated a little bit, not too much. Don't need to. But Kev, how's it going, man? You doing all right?
Yeah. I'm smoking on that grape pie ho, and then that's just like my vape pen. So we're also gonna pull out the pillow.
I was
Peck
about
the
to say
bong.
you need to get some new flavors, bro. That grape pie ho's been
Nah,
on here for
man.
3 weeks.
Listen, consistency builds character. It's good for you. No, but I'm also just drinking Folgers. I drink cheap shit, but if I could, I'd drink some Death Wish. I kind of wish we had some.
I've never had Death Wish. I kind of
It's
want to
amazing.
try it, but my favorite so far is Black Rifle coffee.
Yeah. I mean, Death Wish is absolutely amazing. I would recommend it as long as you don't have like a caffeine allergy or you're sensitive to caffeine. I would highly recommend it.
Right.
But let me go ahead and skip to the next person, see how Panda's doing over there.
Chug-a-lugging on my coffee with Snickers. Yay. I don't know, just excited to start smoking. We're going to pull the student glass out here, take a rip, then switch over to the laser bong, because who doesn't like getting high with the laser? Duh.
You mean
jelly.
the Hitoki Trident?
Yeah.
I'm jelly. I
Dude,
can't lie.
It's so cool.
I'm gonna have to plan a trip just to come visit so I can fucking try that some bitch out.
Maybe one of those days we can get those mystical things called a sponsorship, and maybe one day Hitoki or the makers of the student glass will sponsor us.
Oh, that'd be cool. We could do
And
some
everyone
reviews
could
for
get
them.
it. Yes, we could. I love reviewing new bong technology.
You guys are smoking in the future.
Yeah.
The future is now, Bree. For the low price of like $500, you too can get a. Yeah, it'd be cooler if we had a sponsorship.
Bree knows the laser bong. She's got to use it.
Yes,
Yeah.
super cool.
But she hasn't lived with one. Once you live with one, then you'll see the power.
The power.
The power.
Or when you combine your Hitoki saber, which is the smaller one that can be attached to any bong, when you combine the laser bong with the student glass, that's fucking high tech.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty lit.
But Bree, what you smoking on today?
I'm all about convenience. This morning I woke up a little later than usual, so I didn't have as much time. So I grabbed my dab pen and headed into work. That's what I got.
What flavor?
It is champagne flavored.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's by a brand called Snooze, so it's a tiny little cute portable vape. It doesn't have like a distinct flavor to me. It just kind of tastes like weed.
I wonder if that would go good with mimosas, though.
Bruh. You have me hooked.
And you said it was called Snooze?
It's by Snooze. That's the brand that makes these type of vape bars.
Oh,
Interesting.
That's cool. Well, I'm going to slide over and grab the student glass and let's get high.
I'm already ahead of you.
Do you have any interesting tattoos or anything like lined up, Bree?
So I'm currently working on a skeleton hand tattoo.
Nice.
I'm trying to come up with concepts that are different than your every Pinterest post skeleton hand tattoo. That's been
Yeah.
racking my brain, but the client has some Japanese kind of preferences, and so I'm thinking of doing like maybe some oni mask things are incorporated
Man, that'd be
into
pretty
it.
cool.
Then I also have two different clients who want elephants. Um,
Elefantes.
so that's kind of those three things are currently what I'm working on in my tattoo life.
I kind of wish I was a tattoo artist. That shit sounds fucking fun as fuck.
It's got to feel unnerving, though.
Yeah, it is. That's what I was like. Like, yes, it's definitely. I love it and it's badass and it's cool, but it's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of what you make it in terms of like if you're not promoting yourself, then you're not making money.
Well,
Um,
that and one cough, right? And you permanently put something on somebody.
yeah,
Like you've got to be pretty confident in your hands, like and that they're listening to you at all times, and that because like me, I don't know, I wouldn't have that level of confidence. Um,
Oh, facts.
because there is no like sketch it out then retry on human skin. Like of course you sketch it out and you do things ahead of time to help you succeed when you're finalizing it. I'm just saying like there's no do-overs really. It's like
well, kind of like what you said though, that's exactly the process. So if you draw it out with pencil first and then you hard line it with your markers, or like say I use a calligraphy nib, and
Mhm.
then by the time I go to put it on the client, it's my third time drawing it. So I am by that point pretty confident that like my muscle memory knows where to go type of thing. So you
Right.
practice it about three times to the final product. And that's not including, if you make tweaks to the design along the way and have to redraw it. So by the time I get to the tattoo, I've practiced it enough times that that's where the confidence comes from.
Yeah, I
I'm
still
a,
wouldn't have that level of confidence. Like, I get what you're saying, though. I do. And probably after you've done it for so long, those initial like jitters, that feeling of like, am I going to make a mistake? Those things start to disappear. I guess it's not much different, right, than having to play a song live on a stage.
For sure.
You practice it until you can play it in your sleep. And then the time comes, but every so often there's a fuck up, Like I don't know.
It's very comparative because just like a performance, if you fuck up, the goal is to hide your fuck up well enough that nobody notice. And the same thing goes for
Yeah.
tattoos. Like every tattoo artist makes a mistake, and the challenge is blending that mistake into your art so that nobody notices.
yeah. I guess I must have had a lot of trust in my tattoo artist because I let that dude draw on my arm with Sharpie and then go over it.
Yeah,
Like
freehand it.
he didn't draw it beforehand or anything. He freehanded all of it.
However, that man probably over the last couple years has been practicing that same.
Oh, no doubt.
So by the time he got to yours, it was like, hell yeah, I'll freehand that. I know how to do that just on muscle memory alone.
Well, he actually took for the mermaid I have on my arm. Like I'll send you a picture of it, but
Yeah.
for the mermaid I have on my arm, I kind of wanted it like almost like a Sailor Jerry style tattoo,
Hmm.
like the pinup girls,
Yeah. American
but
traditional.
more along the lines of the other tattoos he's done. And he took one of his books that had a mermaid in it and he used it as a reference and just came up with his own mermaid.
Nice.
So, I mean, he was really good, and I paid a pretty penny. I've spent over $2,000 just on my right arm.
There's a really interesting, like, as we were talking about, like, the fear of making mistakes. Sorry to switch back to the topic. There's a, I can't remember what culture it was, but I read, I think we mentioned it to you, Bree, as well, but it has something to do with like mistakes are what essentially what make things beautiful, and like in one culture they intentionally leave mistakes because they believe that it's essentially leaving a part of yourself behind, and like putting a piece of your soul into the thing you're making. And I think that's a really interesting thing to think about,
Yeah.
because like, what is perfection? What is a mistake?
I mean, it's different
A
for
mistake is really just your originality.
To
I mean, it
some
is.
degree in this field, you definitely like no matter no matter how talented of an artist, we're not computers, we're not printers, so there are going to be other factors where things happen and you have mistakes occur, but it's definitely a certain degree where you don't want to add too much uniqueness to where it's like it changes the overall design, you know?
Well, so
yeah.
that actually brings up kind of an interesting point. I read an article from some MIT folks who had actually developed a needleless approach to tattooing. I haven't followed where along that is, but they're like these weird things that you can just peel off, almost like when you were a kid and you put those crappy tattoos on,
Yeah,
but a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit more sophisticated. But it would actually tattoo you with, and it would be painless. So, like, just kind of talking about perfection and mistakes, if we get to a point where that's pretty commonplace, everyone's just going to have these cookie cutter, like not fully original tattoos, and they're going to look perfect. And I think that perfection is going to kind of suck.
Yeah, you're already seeing that in the industry, and that's why there's so much gatekeeping and a big culture around gatekeeping, really based through that style that Nuke had mentioned, the American traditional from the Sailor Jerry and stuff like that. Those designs and stuff definitely highlight the uniqueness of the artist. And when you look at nowadays tattoos, you'll see a lot of things where people just print something off of Pinterest and take it to the tattoo artist, and the tattoo artist is like, "What the fuck? Like, you should let me design something based on this." And the person's like, "No, I just want it just like this." And then you walk in a crowd and you see 12 people with the same exact
Yeah.
tattoo.
Yeah. Except at least for the moment, that may be true, but if you examine them closely, like you could tell they were done by different artists. You could tell, like, there's going to be distinctions. But in a future where you literally apply tattoos rather than going and getting a tattoo traditionally, it's going to be even more cookie cutter. There will be literally not even the artist distinction because it won't be done by an artist.
Okay, I think I missed a part of that. I had got a phone call, that's why I muted. Um,
Yeah.
you're saying that you think like we'll be essentially printing tattoos on people instead of
Well,
Well,
MIT,
so
yeah.
artists doing
yeah, there was an article I read little while back, but MIT actually developed a process of doing it, and it's fully painless. So I think to some degree, people that just want a tattoo, some of them might consider that. I still think there's going to be for a long time people who still believe in traditional tattooing, because it's not just about the ink; it's about the experience and the process, and
yeah for that.
like it.
Sorry,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I don't personally believe that that will be a thing that I ever see in my lifetime. Like I don't think that I don't know, maybe I'm just biased.
I think people will be people at first, and they'll be resistant, right? Um, And then I think to some degree, some people might get caught up in, hey, it's painless. So people who have no tolerance for pain, now you can decorate your body. Um, so I think there will be certain people that it applies to that, but I do think you're right. I don't think people are going to fully adopt it anytime soon.
Yeah, I think there'll be a market for it, maybe with like the same market of like permanent makeup aesthetic wise, but I don't think it'll actually be any genuine competition for the tattoo industry is what I'm saying, because because of that experience, because of the history, because of the culture, because
Yeah.
really the pain therapy. I mean, everybody knows why you come and sit for hours and like that pain. It's a like full package type of thing. I again am probably really biased, but like if I had the option right now to go somewhere and get a tattoo in 20 minutes to cover my the section of my arm that would take 4 hours in pain, I still don't know that I would do that, even though that sounds silly to say. There is
Yeah.
that concept of like, for one, there's a spirituality aspect where
Yeah.
people believe that it's a transfer of energy and the symbolic meaning behind it. And
But then and you'll have the other side of people though that are like, "Oh, it's cheaper, quicker, I can be in and out." I think you're right in the sense of, like, there'll be people who stick to a traditional tattoo, but I believe there will also be a subset of people who are like, "Ah, it's just cheaper, it's just
Well, and there's also people that don't get
convenience."
tattoos purely because they don't want the pain,
yeah,
right? But they would get them if there was no pain involved.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, while it was an interesting article to read, and I fully believe that what you're saying, Bree, is 100% accurate. Like the people that go get tattoos typically go there for other reasons than just the ink itself. So,
Yeah,
um,
that makes a lot of sense.
but that article also led to the fact that there's still a lot of limitations to the technology. They were able to, I think, get it up to like the size of like a quarter or something is about the biggest application size they have when they were doing it. Um, so you can't go get a sleeve. You can't get any big pieces or anything like that. But I certainly think that if that became like a general public accessible item, I think you'd see people with like little under ear tattoos and whatever just because they wanted to decorate their body. Um, but don't fully commit to the idea of like of anything else, honestly. More just that they want to put a little bunny rabbit that's cute under their ear, you know, or on their ankle.
I would like to know more on like the process of how it would actually be effective and be pain free without some
I can
sort
try
of
and
like
find the
numbing
article and send
paper.
it to you. Because honestly, I'm talking about it months and months and months and months later. I don't even remember how long. It could have been a year ago. So I can try and find the article though and send it to you. But there's a lot of limitations to it. I was just curious, what your thoughts are. And I kind of felt the same way.
I think it's a cool concept. I also just feel like there's so many factors, like, so the same with like medical examinations. Like there are computers, we've seen videos and stuff. There's computers that a robot can give somebody an IV, right? But it might not be the most effective, because you do need the human judgment on certain things. So like with tattooing, specifically skin depth, like everybody's skin is different. And I don't know, like my brain is trying to figure out like how could they make the computer so aware that it would know like the perfect depth, because those type of things you kind of figure out like after feeling and touching the client's skin, or you
Yeah.
pull your first line and then you look to see how the skin reacted to it and then you adjust yourself accordingly. So my brain
Yeah.
trying to like wrap around how a computer would be accurate along like 200 people who have different depths of skin and different like textures of skin. I just can't see it being as flawless
So
So
as
they
the
would do it.
concept sounds.
Yeah, they would do it the exact same way you described it. They would put in sensors. They would put in different things that would analyze a person's skin and based off of a database say, aha, okay, I believe this is accurate. And that machine could also sample, right?
so I
So,
posted
in the same way that you described how you kind of approach it, a computer can be utilized to recognize those same parameters and adjust accordingly.
an article in the um, chat that kind of talks about it. Um, this is an article from Georgia Institute of Technology, but it talks about how it's like miniaturizing a needle so it's painless but still effectively deposits tattoo ink in the skin. This could be a way to not only make medical tattoos more accessible, but also to create new opportunities for cosmetic tattoos because of the ease of administration.
Is
And
it smaller needles?
yes,
Essentially they're
microneedle.
micro needles. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
it says
the
like they're
size of
already
the
using
needle,
it for anti-aging. Um,
I don't believe in it.
It's not going
I'm
to,
taking a hard no
it's
on this one.
definitely not going to affect your job. Like people, there are people that get tiny tattoos, but that tiny, that's a
Yeah, you have
very,
to be like
very
there's
small.
more to understand than just what
so
that
they
article is
developed
implying.
microneedles that were smaller than a grain of sand and made of tattoo ink encased in a dissolvable matrix. The micro needles are made of tattoo ink and they deposit the ink into the skin and then it dissolves, like the micro needle dissolves.
Dissolves and then you remove the patch. Yep. And you have a tattoo.
That shit doesn't make sense.
I mean, they literally, it's kind of fascinating that they made needles out of ink. It's terrifying, but also fascinating.
So yeah, and then although most microneedle patches for pharmaceuticals or cosmetics have dozens or hundreds of microneedles arranged in a square or circle, microneedle patch tattoos imprint a design that include letters, numbers, symbols, and images. Arranging the microneedles in a specific pattern, each microneedle acts as a pixel to create a tattoo image.
I mean, it's pretty ingenious. You know, you got to give people credit where credit's due. It's pretty genius.
The very last paragraph of this says the goal is not to replace tattoos, which are often works of beauty created by artists. Our goal is to create new opportunities for patients, pets, and people who need something painless that can be easily administered.
If
Right.
you're not getting tattoos for the pain, you're a pussy.
There's definitely going to be
I
people that go
I
get a
heard
little
that out.
Playboy bunny thing on their ankle or on their foot or whatever because
I'm
it's
just
cute.
going to say I despise pussy being compared to weak
Well,
because I'm sorry, these
fair.
things are strong.
Resilient
This
is
is
probably
fair,
a better word
but
Fact.
than strong.
also
I know, it's just it is
I have
easy.
I have a strong hoo-ha too, but
Is this what happens
I
when we
still
have
use
more
the word
than?
puss when I'm referring to a little
Good Lord.
bitch.
And this is what happens when we have more than one
Whoa, calm yourself
more
over
than one
there,
female
bro.
host on at a time. It all devolves to talking about
The strongest
vulvas
hoo-has.
and vaginas and labias and
Bodybuilding coochies.
oh, good lord! All right,
Have you done your Kegels today, ladies?
Oh my god.
Got got to keep that subfloor
I
strong.
need to get higher. Can we go back to the fascinating microneedles?
No, that was
No.
stupid.
No, but for real, I think we've all had a good moment to get high. Yeah.
Well, what's the perfect weapon
Yeah.
also? Like, hear me out for a
Ice.
second. Why?
Because
Why, Nuke?
because it melts and there's no evidence after it,
And it can be molded into just about any weapon.
yeah, absolutely.
Wow, I never really thought of that.
Bro, why
So
are of
what
course
I'm
the
trying
dudes take it to weapons?
well, what I'm trying to allude here to though
Damn.
is like this technology that is making needles at a microscopic level out of ink is not much different than that. That same thing could be actually applied to weaponry or to the military field. That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. It bugs me a little bit, but I still find it
Giving them ideas.
fascinating from a scientific perspective. Anywho,
Well, I did find something on an interstellar tunnel discovered near our solar system that
Okay.
could lead to other star systems. But
is this
art
something?
what?
Is this something they've never seen before?
So the idea was brought up about 50 years ago of a bubble being out there and of tunnels leading to other solar systems. But it was never proven until recently with a doohickey they call the Max Planck Institute for Extraterrestrial Physics. And they have an X-ray telescope that is looking out that operates at 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. So it's
Okay.
out there. So it has,
How did they know it operates that far?
because they sent it there.
What? You said it was a telescope.
Right. The
Is it
telescope
deployed
is
in space?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. So they're able to retrieve signals up to as far as that distance.
No, it is
Back.
1.5 million kilometers away from Earth, and then they
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay,
They're
I see
able
what
to
you mean
send
now.
signals back
Yes,
to Earth from that distance. Right.
yes,
Okay.
it takes a while, but yes.
I thought you were saying there was a telescope on Earth that can see this distance, and I'm like, but how do they know if it can?
No,
I don't know.
no.
You get what I'm
No,
saying? Like, how do you judge the distance once you're in space? Like, how do you judge distance?
that's true.
It's it's not an easy task.
Right.
So this is theoretical then.
No,
The
so
portal
it's not a portal. It's more like just a
or tunnel. Sorry,
yeah.
that was the word you used.
It's a tunnel that we can, because there's denser areas and hotter areas in space that we just can't really travel through. So there's this tunnel that basically goes from our local hot bubble, which is like our grouping of our solar system, and then you have the sun, and then it expands down out past that, kind of like a wind tunnel. You know what I mean? Like it's like you've got a bunch of clusters on the side, and then you have this tunnel that goes straight through them, leading to other galaxies and star systems and shit like that.
How do they
But
know it's a quote unquote tunnel though?
I don't
I guess
know,
that's what
man.
I'm curious about.
I have no idea. But the only reason why I picked it was because I liked what they called it. They noted that the bubble's shape resembled a bipolar nebula.
Ah.
And I was like, "Oh shit, look at that." But yeah, it's got it going that there's a possible tunnel towards the Gum Nebula and maybe some other nebulas out there as well, but we haven't been able to really see that yet. We've just been doing kind of our solar system and what's in it. So once we start expanding out, I do believe we'll be able to see that there are probably tunnels that lead to these star systems that are easier for us to get to. And they're also claiming that the sun didn't originate in this solar system, that it only came into our solar system through this tunnel that happened to place it right where it needed to, and we are moving with it through the tunnel to another star system essentially.
All right.
I just thought that shit was cool. I love space shit. Space
Yeah,
shit
I mean
blows my mind.
Same.
it's because there's a lot of endless possibilities, right? It's the great unknown.
Right, it's the final frontier, bro.
Well, minus, like the bottom of the ocean. It's
Well,
also
right.
great unknown. But
Yeah. Yeah, I
um,
mean, we've only discovered what 5% of the ocean,
yeah, it's
or researched 5% of the ocean. It's ridiculous.
it's a
Something
big
very
ass place.
insignificant. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Hey, did you see?
technically we've only researched or explored about 45% of the Earth's land as well. So there's still a lot of shit out there that we don't fucking know about.
Yeah. Did you see that they found or I don't know exactly how they proved it, but they said under the Earth's crust there's water. There's more water. Like they found a water deposit
Reserve.
or
Yeah.
reserve that has more water than the surface of the Earth has
Yeah.
on
That
it.
is insane.
That's crazy. I wonder what's living in there.
Or two.
That'd be interesting to find out, wouldn't it? Till
What's
we
living in
find
there?
Yeah, till we find out some of the monsters people from different cultures have talked about are actually real.
It would be kind of cool.
Leviathans and
I'm actually.
dragons.
There's like
I'm gonna.
tribes of, sorry, Pandar.
No, go go.
There's like tribes of people, and the video I watched was on children, but of like islanders, and there's some from the Philippines where the people their lungs have adapted to allow them to stay under the water longer because they've been diving for so many generations.
Yeah,
That's
I do
crazy.
believe humans adapt.
They call them
I do
water
believe
That's
that.
people.
proven.
Or evolve.
Well,
Adapt.
adaptation
Adapt.
is a part
Evolve.
of evolution in my mind.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
first you adapt to your environment, then that adaptation becomes essentially a part of you.
Right.
And then over centuries or years and years and years, right? Like
Yep.
people evolve.
Absolutely.
So they're known as sea nomads or sea gypsies. And they're
Ooh,
people who
sea
lived in the
gypsies.
waters near the Philippines for centuries. They're known for their exceptional freediving abilities and their traditional ways of life, depending on the water.
I'd love to live like a
That's cool.
life that was just on a beach and dive for fish and stuff every day, just cook, live out there. I don't know.
It says
It sounds so nice.
they can
Without the
hold
fear of brain-eating amoebas and hurricanes.
that part. They can hold their breath for over 5 minutes and can stay
Yeah.
underwater for up to 10 minutes at depths of 200 feet.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's crazy free divers. I don't know what the record is, but it's insane. I cannot hold my breath for that long,
Mm-mm.
And I mean, to be
but I can
honest, I
put a
feel
scuba
like he
tank
can
on.
hold his breath for longer than me. It's his favorite thing to do at a pool. The first thing when we go take the kids to a pool, the first thing Kevin does is jumps in, sinks to the bottom, and just stays there.
Yeah. Well, there's a euphoria. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a euphoria. If you sit at the bottom of like calm water, you're just immersed. Like all the sounds. Whenever at a public pool, I do that because it gets rid of most of the noise. Everything becomes instantly peaceful, and like time just passes. I don't know how to explain
I
it.
know exactly what you're talking about.
I bet
And
you
I
feel
I
that
love
when you're
that
doing
feeling.
those underwater photos.
Absolutely. And the pool is where in the middle it's 10 feet deep. And so
Mhm.
you just absolutely cannot hear anything. And the pressure of the water feels like it condenses your thoughts to nothing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It is so peaceful. It's definitely my favorite part. And for some reason, like when you let all the air out of your body so that you can sink, it's
Yep.
like it forces you to just be so still that you just cannot possibly be that still above the water.
And you'd be surprised how long you actually can hold your breath if you are not focused on trying to hold your breath.
Yes.
If you're seeing thoughts like or imagery or you're just enjoying the peaceful nothingness and you're not focused on, oh no, I need to breathe. You're perfectly still and you can hang out there for a while.
Yes.
But free diving is different. You're active. So to be actively kicking your legs or what have you to move within the water for 5 minutes, that's a different story.
Yeah.
That's hard.
For sure. You do surprise
But
yourself, though. I always surprise myself when we're doing the underwater photo shoots and I get down to the bottom and I'm like, wow, I really feel like time's standing still. Like I don't think about my breath until you can't not think about your breath and then they're like, fuck, I'm like 10 feet underwater. I got a long way to go. Then
you
you
can
got to
cover that 10
exert.
feet pretty quick with one little push off the bottom, right?
I mean, yeah, but when you've already depleted all of the little bit of oxygen that you were withholding in your body, it feels a lot further than just a push off the bottom.
Yeah, but as you get closer, that hope, it builds. You know
Yeah,
you're going to make it.
and then it's a big, Acha! Yes.
That's funny.
That's funny.
No, I have I have mad respect for free divers. And I think it's interesting. There's an entire culture of them. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So
Um,
too. It's scary. Very dangerous field to or hobby or sport.
I mean,
it can be.
facts.
People always want to push themselves further and further and further when you get passionate about those type of things, and with that it's a quick mistake between life and death.
Yeah,
That's
I
human nature.
enjoyed like adrenaline, like roller coasters and stuff as I was younger, but I don't know if it's the four kids, the fact that I hit my 30s, but I'm like a wimp with a lot of that stuff now. I'm like, I could die. I'm good.
I mean, one thing I will not do, and we don't have to go down a whole rabbit hole of it, but because I think we've talked about it before, I will not do cave diving ever. Ever, 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 ever,
Me either.
never.
Mm-mm. Spelunking?
Nope.
Spelunking is
I'll pass.
crazy. I watched
Mm-mm.
that story of the guy who went spelunking and got stuck upside down in that
Yeah, no.
6 inches by 12 inches cave, and that man had like multiple children and a wife at home, and what made him wake up and decide to stick his nose where his nose did not fit, I don't know.
I
Facts.
I don't
I
know
don't
how.
know.
I don't know the comparison of the adrenaline rush you get from that, but must be a hell of a high. I
Yeah, no. I'm good.
don't
Yeah,
like
I
no.
I don't
I'd rather just do cocaine.
uh no. Yeah. Any mess up and cave diving is just I feel like it's even more intense than um I mean honestly just like spelunking or going through caves that aren't underwater just because you have additional like you have pretty much all the same concerns and then more, right?
Yeah, you're underwater
Not only are
on
you in
midair.
tighter spaces, but you're in tighter spaces with razor sharp rocks, right? Um, and then on top of that, if you accidentally kick your fin when you shouldn't, you just kicked up a whole bunch of soot and now you have zero visibility if you had any to begin with. Like it's just
I just
to
feel like
me the
anything that lives in a cave probably
doesn't want to be seen or fondled with. And so,
I'd still like to explore them just with drones, right? Like I could drive a drone through a cave. I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm not putting my life in my own hands inside of an underwater cave. I don't trust myself enough.
Facts.
That's a funny thing to say. I don't trust myself enough. Anywho, why is Nuke? You okay over there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I've been throwing my 2 cents in every now and then. You ain't been listening?
Oh, I've been listening. I just saw a flatline for TJ Dunaway on my screen, and I'm like, hey, I haven't seen. Oh, you got to cut that out.
Yeah, don't say my damn name.
It's on the website, bruh. Actually,
No, it's
so I
not.
shouldn't care. I'm just high and a little paranoid, I guess. Nah.
I did see another article about adolescence and weed.
I mean, that might be something good to get into.
Yeah. It so basically it's saying that cannabis use in adolescence has visible effects on brain structure. And
Mhm.
basically, what it's doing is it's causing shrinkage of the dendritic arborization. What the? I don't even know what that is because I'm not a doctor. But basically, it's
Not a
taking your cerebral cortex and it's shrinking it
Okay.
by a noticeable amount, which it's like doing that has effects on like decision making and learning and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I
it's
mean, I believe
actually
it.
it's coming out now that like
Yeah.
children who try this are actually being affected, which I mean we could have seen that coming from a million miles away. I mean your brain's not fully developed till you're 25 anyway.
And
Right.
honestly, I feel like that's the thing that I've been told the most about weed is, or what I've learned growing up. But as much as it's not that, like, it's not bad for you, it's unless your brain is still developing.
Right.
That's when it's a problem.
Right.
Well,
And then you do run into the problem of, okay, well, what if my kids got cancer and I believe that cannabis will help improve their way of life? Do you take that risk with them and do it anyway?
so I think that's
I
where they're
mean,
trying to figure out, can we isolate specific properties from the cannabis and not have the psychoactive elements. So that's where I
Okay.
think they came to like
right.
CBD and those.
They literally have a strand developed for children called Charlotte's Web that is
Yes, I've
only
seen that.
medicinal.
Yes, I've seen that. The Charlotte's Web CBD.
Yep.
Mhm. So I think I mean, that's shows that we're making progress in that area. There's definitely medicinal purposes that our children can benefit from, but also lower that risk of, are we compromising that development in the brain
Right.
along the way?
Yeah. And I mean, kind of back to that original question at hand, too, though. I don't know. I think if you're taking it for quality of life, I mean, is it worth it?
Yeah.
I would say yes, right? Like getting to live happily for however long versus being absolutely fucking miserable. I don't know. Like I would say yes. It's still
I
whether
would
we knew your brain shrunk a little from it or not. I would say the trade off is still valid.
I would agree. I would completely agree. I've seen many different things on cannabis for kids and stuff, and I watched an episode of Weedicket. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Weedicket,
I've heard of
No.
it.
No.
but they have an episode on there for Cannabis for Kids, and it's a bunch of different stories, starting with like one baby to like a 8 or 9 year old, and all the way up to a teenager, and how, because they all had cancer or risks of cancer, and their parents went ahead and put them on cannabis, and they are thriving, and their cancers are actually in remission.
I mean, that's great.
And I mean, I'm still along the same lines as high doses of THC can possibly be a partial, not cure, but something that would be helpful towards treating cancer.
So, did this particular article, just out of curiosity, it says it can affect decision making, but it doesn't say in which way. Like, it's not clear as to exactly how it affects your brain.
Right. And I'm looking through it now to see if I can see anything.
I mean, we might just have to dig further to figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is causing atrophy in some of the areas of the brain, like small areas, obviously, but they're atrophying, which is causing all of these issues.
Did they discuss usage? Because I mean,
They
there's a
did
big
not. They did not. So it could really depend on how much they've used
right.
and the level of THC that's in there, the percentage that's actually in there will also cause those things as well. So you have to take those into consideration. But the article didn't mention any of that.
Okay.
It just pretty much said that if you smoke weed as an adolescent, then you're more at risk for having a smaller cerebral cortex.
Okay. I mean, to me, that does not necessitate or mean bad.
Yeah,
It
like
could,
who?
but I'm fully capable. I mean, if you look at the world around us, I'm fully capable of believing the fact that you can reduce something in size and still make it more powerful. So I
Yeah,
don't necessarily just believe the size of the brain determines how smart one is. Um, I mean, just look at a cell phone in your hand,
that's true.
right? That thing has insane processing power.
Right.
Um,
I just need this
so what
article to
if it's
stop
not
glitching my brain.
well, no, I'm just saying, what if it's not truly negative, but they just don't know enough about it yet? They
Yeah.
didn't say how it affects your decision making. What if it just makes you consider more possibilities? Is that negative? No.
Right.
So I'm not sure what they mean by some of the things that they say, and as a result, I need to know more. I'm not somebody who's willing to accept that that necessarily means bad. It could have just been phrased in a way to scare people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do some deeper digging over this next week, and we'll fucking figure this out and be able to come back to it.
Who knows? Maybe Amanda, maybe you're a super genius because of it.
Bro, I mean, I definitely, when smoking through high school, believed it helped me be more creative.
Mm-hmm.
It also helped me procrastinate a lot more. So
Mm-hmm.
there was some good and bad.
Absolutely. And for me, like, I use weed to like calm my anxiety because I've got some serious anxiety, and also for my creativity. Like when I smoke, I can create shit like none other. That's how I get in there and edit videos, edit audio.
Yeah, you just get immersed in it.
That's
Kind
Yeah.
my
of
favorite
time
thing
disappears.
to do
Yeah.
for writing. We'll get super baked and then be like, imagine.
Yeah.
Imagination.
Yeah, it helps me visualize things in my head easier. Like I normally don't see imagery in my head easily.
Me either, bro.
But there are times where it has happened to me when I meditate. If I smoke and we're like laying in bed and I'm kind of not really falling asleep, but I have my eyes closed because they burn after
Right.
sitting in front of a computer all day. Like then I actually kind of get a little taste of imagery in my head. But
Hmm.
aside from that, it's just not there.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I wish I could see pictures in my head all the time. It'd be cool.
I have a very like active brain, so it's weird when people say they can't see pictures in their brain because mine can be a movie.
Yeah. See, my
Well,
wife says when she reads, like it's like
yes.
a movie in her head.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I don't read, because I can't, one, and two, because I just can't imagine
Say
Well, you have
your
to
ass
give it.
can't read one more time. I swear.
it.
No, but here's the thing. It's all about committing. If you pick up a book and you force yourself to sit there and read it, there will be times where you actually connect with it so well that it's as if you're living the story in your head. Um, One series that did that for me was the Alchemist,
Okay.
the Immortal Nicholas Flamel series.
Yeah.
Just the details and how things connected. It was really remarkable, and it made so many possibilities a reality. And it literally drew pictures in my head as I read it.
Yeah.
Um, that's what we're trying to do with our book. But
Yeah.
I do believe that if you said, "Hey, I am going to sit here and read this book," you would actually enjoy it. You might get a little bored of it at certain times, especially when things aren't happening that interest you. But when there are certain scenes and you understand the context, or certain chapters and you understand the context that are full of things happening,
Right.
that's when I think you might actually enjoy it.
Well, see, and like I get that, but like my types of books are the types that, like, where I learn something. Like I love
Oh
reading
yeah,
Stephen Hawking. I don't like reading Neil deGrasse Tyson because I feel like he thinks everybody else is stupid, and the way he describes things is like really dumbed down, and it
yeah.
pisses me off.
I mean, I get that.
Because if you're picking up a book like that to read, you obviously know a little bit about it.
I appreciate actually the dumbed downness. I like a lot of his episodes. I will watch them while I diamond art, but that's
It's like
because
background noise,
yeah,
yeah, while she's diamond darting. Um, I also am an avid believer in technical books, things that teach you how to do things, and I
Yeah,
find software architecture to be very fascinating. So I own several architecture books for software,
yeah,
and that for a long time, that is the only thing I read. Something that would teach me something new, um, something I can honestly reference back to if I'm trying to figure out how to apply something. But then I decided, hey, I am going to give reading a shot, like reading a fantasy novel. And that The Alchemist by Michael Scott was the one, dude. That I made it through the entire series. And I had really never read for pleasure before.
yeah.
Um, I'm just saying, out there, I bet you there's a book that you would get lost in.
Maybe.
All right, guys, that's where we're going to call it for today. See you every Friday. Just remember, it's more than cannabis and coffee, it's a mindset. Whether you see us or hear us, you're part of the crew and we want to hear from you. So make sure to reach out via Facebook, X, or Instagram, where you can find us at cannabiscoffeecrew.com. Have a good day, guys.